Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. So today we're gonna be raiding better boulders in Amsterdam. So yeah, I have quite a busy schedule this weekend. I'm gonna be climbing tomorrow and the day after that, and I'm gonna be making raiding videos out of those sessions. So there's like a lot of climbing sessions, so that's why I thought, because I was like free today, that it's maybe good to visit a somewhat easier gym. But yeah, I just didn't want to lose too much finger skin for tomorrow and the day after that. So that's why I chose a little bit of like an easier gym, which is Better Boulders Amsterdam. Yeah, I'm very curious because it's located besides the Olympic Stadium, and it seems like a pretty new gym, like new style gym. I also watched a video of I don't know what that guy's name is again, but he said that it was quite a good gym. So yeah, we're gonna see how this gym will be. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing the reviews at the end of the video. I think that's it. Let's begin. So there's also a circus today because it's almost Easter, but yeah, we're not here for that. We are here for the climbing, guys. So what I think is like a little bit of like a bummer is the changing room. Like there's not really like a women and boys changing rooms like apart from each other. Like closed room, it's just like open, which I'm not really a fan of. So yeah, I think this gets like a little bit of like a minus point. So I am on my way back home. What do I think about the gym? Well, I think it's quite tiny. The air quality / conditioning is also not that great. Like the ventilation, there is like one little ventilation at the back of like the gym, which just isn't enough. Also like the entry fee, it was like surprisingly high. 15 euros for like one time climbing in like a gym that isn't that big. Also like the boulders felt like a little bit like still. Like a big part of this gym is what you usually see in gyms you will just go to, where you just pay 10 euros. And also like with like dynamic moves and the new competition style boulders, there's like still a lot of like outdoorsy style boulders with like outdoorsy holds. I think that's also like a little bit disappointing. It's definitely worth my 15 euros though, this session, but I feel like they can still like improve on a lot. Also like the changing rooms, just make 2 separate changing rooms and not just one changing room where kids and adults and like women and men have to like change their clothes together. That's just waiting for something bad to happen basically. Yeah, I probably won't be coming back to the gym because of the entry fee, but I definitely think it's a really nice gym to maybe in like a few months or years to maybe come back to and have another session in this particular gym again. But I'm still like thinking about it to maybe like do that again after a year or a few months or maybe a few years. But alright. So yeah, I'm now gonna rate everything. So yeah, let's start with the training area. I think the training area deserves a 9. It's a really good training area. The pull-up bars are close to like the campus board. You have weights lying around. You have elastic bands, and you have like a weighted pull-up belt. And you also have a moonboard 2017, which is one of the hardest moonboards and most sandbag moonboards in from like any moonboard that has been made, which is also really good training. And you have also got like a little spray wall, which is also really nice. I definitely think that everything could have placed like together and could have been a little bit bigger, the training area. So that's why I rated a 9, because I think Monk Eindhoven just did it a little bit better. And definitely like Monk Eindhoven is probably like the perfect training area from like any gym I've been to. So yeah, this gym gets a 9 for the training area, which is just really nice. So yeah, now for the wood setting, I think I'm gonna rate that a 6.5. I definitely think there are some cool boulders, but because most of the boulders are set for the beginner climbers, maybe intermediate climbers, and there's like not that much dynamic stuff, and like definitely like the usage of holds is just like you know, and also like definitely like the way they use the new style holds is quite boring in my opinion. I think they could have said like a lot of hard stuff with those holds, and like could have made really cool boulders with those holds. They kind of like use it like decoration or something, or just like a really easy like ladder, which I think was like kind of disappointing. So I'm gonna rate it a 6.5. Alright, now for cleanliness, I'm going to rate that a... Well, I think the gym was quite clean. There were like a few greasy holds, but I think I'm gonna rate it like, yeah, like an 8. I think it's quite good compared with like other gyms that I've been to. So yeah, now for the friendliness, I think I'm gonna rate it like a 6. I think a lot of like the people climbing in the gym are students or are from other countries, and they just climb with their kids or the wife. I didn't really have that much people that I had like a small session with, or that they climbed with me for a little, or talked with me for a little. There were like 2 persons. One just talked a little bit with me about like beta for like a boulder that I tried, and a other one had a little small session with me. But yeah, I definitely like miss that a lot in this gym, and I think this gym is like it's still quite good to make friends into this gym because it's still quite a small space. But I think like 80% of like the climbers in this gym are just like families that just climb once and then just go away, you know. Also, when I came into this gym, I think a big reason why it got also a lower score for friendliness is because of the staff. There was like a lady behind the bar, and when I came in and I went, downstairs, I didn't saw the registration that I had to registrate first, or like do a registration first before going down and climbing. The girl basically just like said, yeah, you have to register straight first. So yeah, just do that now. And I just didn't really felt like that was really like nice. I felt like it was kind of like, you must register it because, that's a rule here. It just didn't really feel that friendly, you know. Also, like, why not just pay at the bar, and just, make sure that it's like logged on like the computer that you're there and that you have like paid it. It's much easier than just like, having to register it by, filling in a whole form, which is just like really unnecessary. Also, yeah, I think definitely like some staff members are really nice, but some are just like, they're there because they have to be there and they just, don't really have the time to, listen to you that much. So that's why I'm gonna rate it like a 6. Now for air quality slash conditioning, I think this was pretty bad in this gym. I'm gonna rate it a 2 because there's like a little bit of ventilation, but this was like non-existent basically. It was like hot and I got like really fastly pumped because there wasn't any air that I could like breathe in, or like, had something to really cool off. So eventually when I climbed like a lot of sixes and sevens, I eventually got like so pumped that I just fell out of boulders that I could like easily flash because I didn't had anything to cool off. So when you don't have anything that could like cool you off, you will get like faster, like, cramps, and like, you can't climb as well as you did when you first came into the gym and just climbed. And I think, that this was just like really bad. Just make sure that the whole gym has like good, like, air quality slash conditioning, and just don't place it like at the back of the gym where almost nobody really climbs. Also, they could like just, place a few like little vents in the gym itself, so they could like make it cooler, but they just don't do that. And I think, you have to pay 15 euros for something like this. You would like expect something better than like, having really bad, than like having like a steam oven where you're like climbing in, which is just like the case in this gym. So yeah, it's gonna be a 2 for me with this. And it's not gonna get any higher. So yeah, for safety slash safeness, it was just quite bad in this gym. There were no safety rules at all. Basically, like the only safety was like that the parents, when they climbed with their kids, that they made sure that the kids just weren't like, climbing under people and followed a little bit of like safety. But there were like no safety rules at all. There were not like any people that were just like, standing in the gym making sure that people climbed safely. um it's basically like your only reliability is people that know how to climb and what the safety rules are. And that's basically it. Like, there's no safety rules at all. There's no, when you use weights or, use the campus board, there's not really like a template or rule thingy where from that you how to use something. There's no rules how you know what to do in the gym. There's no, you know you can climb under each other, or you have to fall with the T-Rex turtle roll or anything like that. It's basically like it's non-existent, the safeness rules. And I think the only reliability is that the climbers themselves make sure that people know a little bit of the safety, which is just bad. I'm gonna rate this like also a 2. So this gym didn't really score that well with like the rating. It got like a 5 and 2 2s, which is not great. So if a lot of the reviews are true and it's, you know, a lot of bad things, then this gym can maybe like get a really low score. Maybe, you know, going to like a 4 or maybe even a 3 for as the very first gym. But yeah, we will have to see about that. Let's now go into the reviews. Alright, so our first review is by Jochem Schinning. This review is in Dutch, so the people that speak English, they have to put their subtitles on for this one. Boulders zijn erg vies. Trainingsruimte is wel oké, maar het ergste van allemaal is het personeel. Arrogant, onvriendelijk en niet gastvrij. Dit is de slechtste boulder van Amsterdam. So, what I think about this review is, well, I think this is mostly false. I think the boulders, like some are a little bit like, you know, not that clean, a little bit sweaty, but I think most of the boulders are quite clean. Trainings area is really, really good, I think, in this gym. One of the best I've seen in a lot of climbing gyms I've been to. And for the staff that is in this gym, some are not really that, you know, are not really bonding that much with the people climbing in this gym. So I think he's kinda right. Because definitely when I just came into the gym and the girl behind the bar said that I had to register immediately, that just felt like quite, yeah, not nice at all. So I'm gonna remove 0.5 points for this one, but I think most of this review is not really that true. Our second review is by Iron Soul. Fun gym for beginners. I wouldn't recommend it for intermediate to advanced boulderers. Although you would find interesting moves in a few problems, most problems were very basic in terms of moves and variety of techniques required. The walls are low because of the low ceiling, resulting in short boulder problems. For changing rooms, they have 3 small one-person fitting rooms. So first of all, I think definitely a lot of the gym's boulders are set for beginner climbers. I think definitely like there's still like a lot of boulders set for intermediate climbers, but definitely for like the advanced boulderers, I think there isn't super much hard stuff and interesting stuff for those people. And I definitely think there are some interesting moves like the Lachey Dino, but I also think that most of the boulder problems were very basic in this gym. I do think there is like quite a lot of technique required. I had to place like a few toe hooks and heel hooks into a few of the boulders. But I do think that the boulders were low, like there were like a lot of 7s and 6s that just were like really short and just also weren't really like that high. And also like the changing rooms just weren't that great too. It was just like one room with like everyone just like changing their clothes there, which I just really wasn't a fan of. And there were like 3 small one-person fitting rooms too, like, you know, changing rooms, which is just like, why not just like make 2 separate bigger changing rooms for, you know, women and men. I just don't really get that, so I'm gonna remove 2 points because this review is just like almost completely right. Our last review is by Marco Masai, and it seems like he's from India. A better experience in India. The gym at rush hour was completely packed, but the staff nonetheless decided it was a great time to take down a quarter of the total lines in the gym. I went inside when the works were already ongoing, and the entrance they didn't really care to tell me and made me pay full price anyway. When I went to ask for explanation, I didn't even get a sorry and got treated rudely. In New Delhi, I was warned at the entrance there were work in progress and they offered half the price of the entrance. If you're looking for a serious place in Amsterdam, would suggest to try baseballers instead. I definitely think this Marco guy is definitely like, I think mostly right. It's definitely like a lot of people in the gym. When I tried to film, it was like super hard to not film people because they were like standing like in front of the camera because they didn't really care that much. There were also like a lot of people just like walking like in front of the camera, just like standing still in front of the camera too when I was like climbing also, or trying like a few of the boulders. They tried to, make sure that they didn't, went on camera, but it's quite a small gym, and I think, there were people that tried to, make sure that they just, didn't walk in front of the camera, but there were also like a lot of people that just did and didn't really care about it. For the rest, like definitely like with resetting, a quad of the gym just like gets resetted at the end of the week. And yeah, this definitely like is a big problem because if you pay money that day, you can't really, get the full experience. So I kind of feel bad for this guy. And I also definitely know that this gym, because they quite need a lot of money, because they still try to keep their heads above water, because not that much people would go to this gym, because most of the people would just like go to base, because that's like one of the most well-known gyms in the Netherlands, and they won't really go that fast into like a gym like this, so they have to like put their entry fee up more and more. So yeah, like if you're going to look at Google reviews from like 2 years ago, you would see that the entry fee was like 10-11 euros, and now it's like 15 euros because they just can't afford enough money to just let the gym run like a lot, because it costs a lot of money to run a gym, and they need money, and the only way to really get money is by making the entry fee higher if there aren't that many people climbing. So yeah, I kind of get that the gym does that, but yeah, like some people then also can have like a really bad time, because they then just go to the gym, for example, when they just reset something, and they have to like pay the full price and can't really get the full experience. So I kind of feel bad for this guy, and I'm definitely going to remove points for that. Yeah, I definitely think like a lot of gyms in the Netherlands don't really say it when they reset stuff in the gym. And I definitely think they should be doing that more. They should be like putting it on the website or anything like that when they reset, because people can get quite confused if they aren't locals there when they reset. So yeah, I'm going to remove 2 points for this one also. And now it's time for the total score. I had to remove 4.5 points, which is a lot, which eventually made the total score a 4.8, which is under a 5, which is considered a bad gym. I think this gym could have done a lot better. I think if they just, used the money for better ventilation, made the Routesetting more dynamic and more new style, and, use the holds better. Like the registration fee was just like, just also like a lot of money. You just had to pay for like one-time climbing here. It just didn't really felt like it was really like worth it, even though I had a pretty nice session, and it was worth it for me for this session. I don't know how it would have been if I had multiple sessions here, but yeah, just like it was just too tiny. This gym is just like too tiny, and like the boulders in this gym also just aren't that interesting, to say it this way. So yeah, it got a 4.8, which is not the worst score. So yeah, I think this was it for this gym. And next gym I will be going to is going to be Den Haag de Uithof, which is originally like a lead climbing wall. But there's also a bouldering area in that, and I'll also be rating bouldering areas from different lead gyms. Even though these bouldering areas are located in a lead gym, it's still a bouldering area, or kind of like a bouldering gym. And so it's still part of the series. So I will be rating the bouldering areas in those lead gyms as well. And yeah, that's why I will be going to the Out of Tomorrow to see how one of these bouldering areas will be in a lead gym, like I told you guys. Because the Out of is originally a lead gym, which has a bouldering area, which I'm really interested about, because how will it be to climb there? So we'll see that in the next video. But yeah, for now, later.